Islamophobia is a made-up word. It's made up by a political movement that wants to exploit and capitalize on white guilt to achieve its end goal, which is the revival of the caliphate. And the revival of the caliphate is to convert all of us into Islam, whether we like it or not. Those of us who refuse to do that, we will surely be beheaded. I'm sure I'm on top. For some of the people, say, in places like Africa, we don't talk about this, but Islamists are active in Africa and violently so. If you're a Christian in Egypt or a Hindu in parts of Pakistan, and you have someone looking at you and saying, you'll either lose your head or you convert to Islam, it makes sense to consider converting to Islam. But here today, for us to have the attitude of, well, we'll see what happens, and if we get to that point, I'll just convert, I will say, are you sure? Maybe you want to get educated on what would happen once you convert. What would your life be like, and the life of your sisters and women? What would they do to the Jews? He has said, this man, I repeat it, he said they're bacteria and they're microbes. And in the video that I showed you, they made it very clear it has nothing to do with Palestine. It has everything to do with them being Jewish. So they are going to annihilate the Jews. Will you stand by and watch that? Islamists are winning. Islam is spreading. They're doing better today than they were doing in 2001 after they hit us and we invaded Afghanistan. They've got Afghanistan back. They have Iraq back. They have Syria. And these Muslim governments are they're shaking in their boots. They're worried about what could happen to them because of the Islamist movement. And that's why the Islamist movement came here. And they're exploiting principles like freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, and so on. And of course, these progressive movements that we have here, we've got to understand that, and we've got to become really creative in finding a way of preserving our principles. I don't want to give up on the freedom of speech. But on the other hand, on beating the Islamists at their game. We do have to identify Islamism and Islamists as the enemy that they are and give them the full respect. You asked me to identify and you asked me to define what is an enemy. It's a force that wants to destroy you. How do I know that? In this infrastructure of mosques and madrasas and Islamic centers, etc., they say it explicitly. So there is something about don't listen to me, don't listen to the analysts with PhDs and the like. Listen to them and what they say and take it at their word.
First and most and last goal is to re-establish that Khilafah.
For example, a kafir. A non-believer, a non-Muslim.
Yeah.
We hate him for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was explained by Ibn Qayyim and many others, is to love and to hate for the sake of Allah, which is simply summed up as loving the Muslims and hating the non-Muslims.
You're telling the disbeliever, you're telling the people of shirk and kufr, I don't like you, I hate you because Allah hates you.
We are obliged as Muslims to take the authority away from the people who have it and implement the Sharia. Now I hope that can come in a very peaceful way. I hope that we can do that in a way, where there's no bloodshed.
Do you think this person belongs in England, or do you think he should be deported?
And inshallah, time will come that there will be a law in place all over the world that there can be no disrespect to our beloved Holy Prophet Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
And his son wants to make sure that Islam is paramount in schools and in the state.
We will only truly get real power if we just have more Pakistanis sitting in council chambers and parliaments, but actually having more Pakistanis and South Asians sitting in the corridors of power making the decisions. And that's where I'll end tonight, is to say the change is coming, and the days where our South Asian community are viewed as a vote bank or a curry bank are well and truly gone. The days where South Asian communities get to lead political parties and get to lead countries is now upon us. The days when South Asian communities get to decide not just which school our children go to, but what they are taught in those schools is also coming.
The American government, secularism, democracy, capitalism, these are cancers.
To hell with their democracy!
When they speak about Sharia, when they speak about the Dawah, when they speak about the Muslim, when they speak about the Jihad, we should be proud to say that we are from the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and whatever you people represent, we will destroy it with our own hands, and we will establish Islam over your noses. This is the truth, my dear Muslims.
I think because the war they wage is totalitarian and total.
But ours,
and
where do we meet them?
Well, we have to meet, ours has to be total too. It has to be where they fight us with ideas, we fight them with ideas. Where they fight us with subversive means, we recognize that and we dismantle this infrastructure and kick them out of the country. We have those tools, we have these possibilities. We can't just let them spread. But we can't do this because of the Constitution. We can't do that because of the Constitution. We can't do this because... And a very frustrated judge or Justice Posner said, the Constitution is not a suicide pact. If I want to kill you and behead you, unless you convert to the religion I dictate, what would be the place of compromise?
How long have the Islamic world been persecuting Christians?
When we conquered Jerusalem twice, Christians weren't massacred. When you lot did it, you flooded the whole city with blood.
The correct answer, was 1,400 years.
No one got killed. It was a peaceful.
1,400 years. 1,400 years. That's how long Muslims and Muslim societies have been persecuting Christians.
No, that's not true.
Who was the first Muslims? Who was the first Muslim to ever persecute Christians? Who was the first Muslim to ever persecute Christians?
Christians were persecuting Christians.
The correct answer is Muhammad.
No,
that was the correct answer.
That's not true.